I've been meaning to make this video for a long time. I kind of wanted to wait until I'd ridden the bike for quite a long time before I decided what I didn't like about it. So I've got 7 things that I don't like about the CBR500R that you might want to know if you're thinking of buying the bike, or just generally if you're interested. And this isn't going to be kind of one of those backhanded compliment lists where people go, these are the things I dislike about my bike, then say, I like working on my bike, so it's a bit annoying that my bike's so reliable. It's just like, that's not a bad thing about your bike. I hate shit like that. So no, these are things I do genuinely dislike. So number 1, and this is quite a specific issue, I think, but I have heard that other people have also experienced it with this bike. Basically, when you're going in slower speeds, the windshield, or at least I think it's the windshield, makes this really annoying buzzing sound. Speaking about speeds, maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour, it just makes this horrible rattling sound, which I'm pretty sure everyone can hear around you, because I can hear it very loudly with a helmet on. So that was an issue before I actually changed my windshield to be the darker smoked one that's higher here. That was great English. The darker smoked one that's higher. Yes. But yeah, the issue persisted, unfortunately. Something to do with the rubber seals or not doing their job. That's just one of the annoying things that you may or may not experience if you get this bike. Gonna look for a stopping off place in a minute to speak about the next thing. Another thing I really dislike about the bike, not a massive thing, it can be changed, the ugly exhaust. Let me show you. And I know this is a common trend with a lot of bikes, but yeah, it's massive. Sounds great, looks shite. Nothing really more to say on that. Ugly exhaust. Another thing I don't think is that great about this bike, especially in the context of the other options out there, it's quite expensive, to be honest. I don't think it's bad value for money, but there are other options out there that are really good value for money, such as the Ninja 400. I think it's like near enough $1,000 cheaper than this. So, and you might be thinking, well, why did I buy this one then? There's another video I did on that, but basically because it's red, okay? But no, yeah, this is about 6,000 it was to buy new, and yeah, it's just a bit pricier than other bikes, so that is something to consider. It's just whether it's worth it for you, the slight extra markup over a Ninja 400 or, you know, an R3 or whatever. For me, it was. Another thing that is perhaps more cosmetic, the rear tire size. It is actually one of the bigger rear tire sizes for this class, so it's a 160 width, whereas I think most tires in this class are 140 to 150, so it's not a huge difference, you know, a centimeter. The bike feels like it could probably handle a 180. Yeah, it's one of those kind of vain things. I really like a big rear back tire. This bike is huge. It feels like a full-size bike, but that's the one of the things that gives it away, I think. That's another thing I dislike, is the thin rear tire. Another thing, and I really don't think many people are going to have an issue with this, but it was just something that I noticed when I recently dropped my bike, that when you drop your bike to one way or the other, you do have the risk of bending your levers. And I know this is the case with most bikes, I do know this. But now let me ask you this: why can't sports bikes, like adventure bikes, have a foldable gear lever? You know, something when you drop it, the little nubbin that you kick up, that folds in. so you know it's more flush with the ground and doesn't bend back as much. Is there a reason for this? Maybe it is just a price thing. It's cheaper to have less moving parts. But yeah, that's just something I'd love to see on the CBR or more bikes in general, is a foldable gear lever. Maybe there is a reason that's not the case. If you do know the reason, let me know down in the comments. I'm perhaps sounding really stupid to you right now. So obviously I was mentioning the exhaust earlier. You know, it's okay, it's something you can change. It seems to have a little bit less. It seems to have less aftermarket options in terms of exhausts, parts, whatever. Don't get me wrong, it does have an aftermarket. There is some stuff. It's just, it doesn't seem as fruitful as other options. So that again is something, if you really like heavily sort of modifying your bike, that is something to consider. It also doesn't really help that this is the second generation of this bike, I believe. While it does hold a lot of similarities to the first generation, which I think ended in 2018 or 2019, there is slight differences that, you know, it means that you can't put the modifications for the old bike onto this bike, which is one of those just annoying things, and it's not always clear whether you can or not. So that means, you know, either looking in forums to double check or asking the manufacturer, which is obviously a hassle. Another thing I'm not a big fan of, I know this one definitely is not specific to this bike, but it's just another bike that unfortunately suffers with it. Your bike's gonna very easily rust up. I'm speaking the chain, just certain bolts, and I think you have to take pretty good care of your bike very regularly to stop that from happening. ACF 50 anti-corrosion formula only goes so far. This guy taking the piss. He has to be taking the piss. Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was some of the things I dislike about the Honda CBR500R. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.